At the tone, please record your message.
It's the Message, Power 106, DJ Reflex, and man, I'm super excited to have this guy join me. He's been kind of the staple for this show since I started about a year ago or so, man. I was looking for that new thing, and he's become that guy for me. Anderson Paak is here. What's up, man?
Wow, feels good, bro.
Yeah, man. It's your first time up here with me. I'm happy that you're here. We got to catch up, in the streets a few times, but it's nice to get you in the studio.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, man.
How's have you been?
Great, bro. I can't complain. I've been on the road all year.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get my bearings, been back with the fam, watching a bunch of animated movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
I just saw Trolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty weak.
Your son was into it?
Yeah, he was into it. Somebody was into it. At least he was.
A lot of music, a lot of singing.
Yeah.
A lot of death.
Yeah, it was kind of dark.
It's dark. It's a dark movie.
It's weird.
Yeah. Let's talk about, man, since I saw you came out with the NxWorries project as well. Shout out to Knxwledge and what a vibey, cool record, bro.
Thanks.
And continuation of what you guys were done previously with Suede is obviously featured on the album, but it's such an interesting handbook for relationships in some sense to me, right? Like,
right.
There's a record. What's the title of the record where you're kind of speaking on you're pushing me to the edge, keep me on a leash, and
right. What more can I say?
Yeah, what more can I say, right? So
right.
it's kind of like the handbook for a guy to like almost get out of trouble, but also some game for the women of like what not to do to push your guy to that point and such.
Right.
It's the whole ride is like really, really cool, man. I had to sit my girl down and actually like have her listen to it.
Listen to this.
Yeah. And also one of my favorite lines later in the album is I don't want to break your heart unless I have to.
Right.
Is that the correct phrase?
Yeah.
That's such a powerful line, and I think that's what I love about what you do lyrically all the time. There's always like these when you listen back a handful of times and such, you still pick up on more details. There's so many details and turns that you add. Just that line, I wanted to address that because it's such a beautifully dark, sad line.
Right.
Tell me about that process of making NxWorries. I stopped by the studio and you weren't there, so I kind of got a sneak preview without you there. But how was that being on the road so much and then coming back and essentially cutting those records in between? How did you kind of balance all that?
The NxWorries process, that was big for me. I've been working on that project with Knxwledge for maybe the last 3 years or so. And it was always just a work in progress, and we just we do a few songs here and there. We just kept building. And while I was working on that, different things were coming into play. I was working on my I had gone through Venice and Malibu and was doing the stuff with Dre, and we were still working on NxWorries. So I was getting a lot of my influence, taking it from the NxWorries stuff and using that, and working on my other projects as well, and then coming back to NxWorries and continuing to develop the project. But it was just like working with Knxwledge is just over his production was just, it was very natural for me to just say what was going on in my mind. And it was just his production style, the space and everything just really made it easy. Yeah,
and I think like the fact that you kind of still kept it, like you didn't get far off from that, and we're able to come back to it and such and do everything is pretty remarkable. Let's talk about, obviously, like how much of a fan I am of Malibu and the life that it still has and only has more momentum than ever. I mean, the album dropped. When did it officially drop?
Top of the year, January.
Yeah. And to see, obviously with big looks on the, whether it's been Ellen and different performances you've had, how does it feel, I guess, to like kind of see people still learning and experiencing it for the first time? Like, is there a feeling you can kind of describe when you do an Ellen show and you see like a whole new audience like getting familiar with like what you're doing? Yeah,
it's dope. I mean, to see like white people dancing to it and stuff never gets old. Like, and then like we play festivals with just tens of thousands of white people, and then that's just amazing. But nah, it's like
all white people.
Yeah, really though. Seriously, man. If you go to festivals,
you Norway
will
or
see the
something,
most white people of your life, and they're screaming out, you know, y'all niggas got me hot.
Yeah.
And it's like, dang, this is crazy. I wrote this like
crazy
in a
bathroom.
and now we're in Finland, and like I'm telling 10,000 people, if I call you a bitch, it's because you're my bitch, and they're loving it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it feels amazing, man. It's like to see how far this music thing can take you is it never gets old, and I'm just very humbled and I'm filled with gratitude. Just that's all I can say.
Yeah, and you know, again, I think I've told you this out there. Malibu to me in the last year is my favorite album that's come out. You know, and I think a lot of people, but for myself, like the fact that you're able to. Thank you, as Adrian brings a coffee here, much needed.
Jumbo.
You know the. All the elements that you bring into it, right? All the influence that you've you know, put in from your life story and your experience into this album. I think that's why it attaches to white people just as much as it attaches to, you know, people, the church people, whatever it is, like, you know. And I think that's just a testament of, you know, obviously like all the stuff that you were influenced by coming from, you know, Ventura and being exposed to the, you know, we've talked about the surf culture meets the, you know, the gospel, you know, aspect of it, to the R&B, soul, everything in it, man, is an extremely amazing talent that you have, man. And I think you know that, but I guess I wanted to just say it because it's so impressive to me, you know?
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Come down. How did the, you know, it's funny because one of the last times I was up in New York, I was going to come catch you. I think you were doing Fallon. And I think that was the week that there was like a shooting at a T.I. show too, I think, that we were all supposed to go to and such. How did Tip kind of get involved with that record? And, you know, what was that relationship? How did that kind of come fruition?
I started linking up with Tip like maybe a little bit before I did Coachella, and I did a couple sessions out in Atlanta, and he was just super cool, man. And we did a bunch of music and just chopped it up and just kept in touch, man. And he just hit me up, and, you know, after he heard the album, just expressed how much of a fan he was and just gave me some real good insight and some real good game, like just about longevity and just how to, you know, stay focused out here, because he got, you know, on really early, and he's been in, I didn't realize how long he's been in the game, you know, and how young he is still. So it's really cool to just pick his brain. And he's also someone that works with Dre a lot too. So we started working, and then he I think I'm trying to think even how he did it. He was just a big fan of the song, and I think I just was like, yo, why don't you hop on the remix?
It's one of his. I mean, in my opinion, it's one of his best verses. At the time too. Like just the way his flow, his content, everything is really, really strong.
Totally wasn't even expecting like the content, or like mainly the content. You know, like it was just perfect for it. And
you've had plenty of highlights this year. You know, there's been a lot of new experiences and such. What you know, off the top of your head, is there a couple that kind of were just like moments that were in some sense unbelievable, or at least something that you believed in but maybe came to fruition that you're just like, oh, this is happening right now? Like what were some highlights from this last year?
Definitely Coachella. You know, just being able to play that festival after wanting to play it after all these years, and then being able to bring out people like T.I. and that was the first time I ever brought out Dre, and Kendrick came out, and Gary Clark Jr., and to be out there with my band, the Free Nationals, and just like see all those people, and just like that was very surreal for me. It was like, wow, like this is really happening. And you know, we went all over Europe, you know, on our first tour from Malibu, and I mean, just that was like our real festival run, and just like our first time like having a tour bus, and like you know, not all being crammed in like one room, and just being able to like go on tour and actually come back with some money, you know, it's like
what people sometimes, I guess because you are in the hip hop hemisphere, like sound wise, usually or often enough, a hip hop artist hires a band to come like support them on a run or something like that. Like these are your friends, like this is your band.
Yeah,
you
we
guys
came
have been rocking.
up.
So like, so for people that don't know, you guys like this is it.
The Free Nationals is my band. We've been rocking for like 8 or 9 years now, and you know, they've seen every, like from highs to lows, like to the lowest of lows. So it's it's very, very surreal and just humbling for to be out with the same people, you know, and to go from rocking, playing in front of literally like staff, and then playing to, you know, being on the main stage at festivals and stuff. That's just really what we love to do, is play. So
yeah.
It's been so many experiences like that this year. There was mostly that, and it's just amazing. Some of these collabs, you know, to be a part of some of these albums that I've been a part of.
Yeah, the Tribe Called Quest.
The Tribe Called Quest
is just,
that was,
how can you even
I
put that
never
into
would have
words?
thought,
Like, yeah.
you know. So, and to work really closely with Tip and Cons and Jerobi, and to see how they all get down, and that dynamic is just amazing. And even being a part of like Schoolboy Q project and the game, and it was just so much I learned, you know, just this year, and from collaboration. So it was amazing.
Well, I absolutely love it, man. You know how much of a fan I am, and to hear you on all those projects, you always are something special when you hear you on all those projects. It doesn't feel like a favor. It doesn't feel like a, you know.
Even when it is, it still feels authentic.
Nice. You own it, though. Like, it's like, yo, this is like your moment. You know what I mean? Even when it is. I love that. Speaking of that, I'm working on an album, and
you
so,
remember
I sent you that
you
track.
never paid me back.
No, man, I love it. I'm looking forward to seeing you at Power 106's Cali Christmas show with the Free Nationals coming up in December, and also I believe I'm opening over at the show you have at the Palladium and such, which is going to be an amazing bit of a LA homecoming show, you know, which is going to be a wonderful time. So thank you for stopping by, and you know, always, you know, we talk anyways, but
yeah, man.
But yo, proud of you, and it's great to see everything happening. Well deserved.
Really appreciate you, man.
Always, Anderson.
Yes, Lord.